Hello folks, the Y Guy here again, and welcome to my home on this nice spring day, spring morning. I'm going to get right into this video. The name of this video is called The Y Guy Talks About Shit. No offense. Now, I know by saying no offense, that doesn't mean that solves everything. No one will be offended by my title. Especially what I'm going to say in this video. No one will be offended by that. Of course, people are going to be offended by the title as well as what this video is all about, but that's not my motive. My motive is to point out problems that people don't look at unless sometimes you use expletive words to slap them in the face, get their attention a little bit. And that's all I'm trying to do here, folks. Now, when somebody says that they're offended because, let's say, it's a curse word. Well, to me, a curse word is, the mummy's tomb, don't break in there, you'll be cursed. To me, that's what curse is. But I understand in our modern vernacular, that shit is considered a curse word. But there are far greater offenses than one simple little word like shit. All right? Far greater offenses. I'll give you an example. The people who would be the most offended by this word are those ones who will use the word hell, which really is a curse, if you think about it. Hell is more of a curse than the mummy's tomb. And the concept of hell. And yet the very people who will speak that word hell, that word representing a curse or a curse word, they will say it from their pulpits dozens and dozens of times. They will talk in conversation because, it's a place that they consider valid. So it's okay to say that curse word hell, even in public. And nobody scoffs about it. But yet, those same people, which is interesting, those same people, a lot of them, depending on how extremely religious they are, that if you're around a casual conversation and you were to say something like, oh, hell, like that, oh, then it's a curse word. Don't say that, Johnny. I'll wash your mouth out. Things like that. All of a sudden it's a curse word. And what ends up happening is what they're doing is they're esteeming, they're holding the word hell up at such a high esteem and giving it such value of, oh, don't say that word. It's a nasty word. Are you catching the hypocrisy and the idiocy and the stupidity in that? And great, I'm really offending people now. Yes, you see how idiotic that is to say that word in casual conversation when you're referencing a place that you consider almost holy? Because that's how it comes across, folks. If you're going to hold the word hell at such high esteem that it becomes a nasty word for little Johnny not to say it, but yet you can say it all you want from a pulpit, you got to see the contradiction or the hypocrisy in that. So I am asking my viewers, because of the reason why I'm doing this video, is I'm asking my viewers to please excuse my expletive choice of that word. But I have a shitty attitude towards the doctrine of hell. Now see, I was taught that if something looks like shit and smells like shit, it's shit. All right? And in AD 440, the ancient Latin church, which later became their government, they shit on their peasants. They really did. And they shit on the society because they capitalized on the ignorance and the superstitions of their society. I don't have because it just come to mind, I don't have it in front of me, but I've read so many quotes from ancient Latin church leaders who in their memoirs, who laughed. They were joking with each other, and they were laughing about how easy it was to manipulate the peasants and use their superstitions. And you know what? Hell was part of that conversation too, and they laughed about it. So I know it was a conspiracy. I know it wasn't a mistake. But you got to read your own ancient history to discover if I'm right or wrong. All right? Now, to produce what they did, to produce what would later be called a Bible, they gathered together copies of Greek letters and manuscripts, and they inserted the turd hell 111 shitty times where there was none of this shit before. Now, I already warned you at the beginning of this video, or maybe I forgot, that I'm going to substitute the word hell for the word shit. Okay? No, I guess you kind of already figured that out, didn't you? Now, today, most modern Christians are blindly still eating this shit, claiming it's legit shit because it's in their Bible. Oh, my goodness. What doesn't make sense, okay, what just doesn't add up is that some Bibles contain more shit than others. Now, that kind of shit makes absolutely no sense. And, you know, and to the mind, to someone who uses their mind to think about that major discrepancy, you know, it stinks. Pun intended. It really does. So far too often, though, what I discovered, you know, in the past 35 years, that well-meaning people, they have promoted shit in the name of God. They really have. And hell is one of them. And I used to do it because I used to believe in that shit. All right? Now, this kind of shit doesn't add up to promote it in the name of God. It just doesn't. So if I bring up how much fun would it be to talk about this shit, which I'm doing right here in this video, most aren't willing. And why is that? Because they're taught to fear so much shit in their lives. They are. And then to add insult to injury, the average Christian insists that you partake in their shit and embrace it. I used to. I used to expect others to partake in my shit. I'm expecting you to do it right now. I'm kidding. Now, if you don't partake in their shit, they claim that you're going to spend an eternity in that shit. What a shitty deal, folks. It really is. Now, they claim that Jesus saved you from that shit, even though you're the one that's responsible to adhere to their doctrines of bullshit to make what Jesus did relevant. You see, you need to complete the work that he apparently left undone. You know, it takes very little research to disprove the shitty doctrine of hell. It really does, folks. And I will admit, it took me a while to research this because of all, and you probably relate with this, but because of all the indoctrination, the brainwashing, and the doctrines of men that resulted in me having shit for brains, frankly, back then. Now, don't be afraid. That's in closing. Don't be afraid. Make a stand. Don't put up with that shit. Call shit what it is. Now, since Christians consider themselves the body of believers, then it's high time. It really is high time to dump this shit. Wipe their proverbial rear ends and remove this shit from their lives once and for all. You know, it only takes a little shit to make the whole loaf smell shitty. Hell makes your gospel message stink. Holy shit? I don't think so. Thank you for putting up with me, and thank you for viewing this video.